Hey, how's it going, everybody in Coronaville? Welcome to another episode of Face the Truth. It is crazy. It is awesome. And we're stuck inside, but we're providing something awesome for you, and I hope you enjoy it. Please welcome my guest this week. He's an amazing artist. I've been an online friend of his for many years, been following him for, I think, since like 2005 or something like that. An amazing painter, an awesome tattoo artist, and sort of a off-brand Sean Penn lookalike, I think. But it's all good. Anyways, everyone, please welcome the awesome, the one and only Shawn Barber.
Hey.
Yay.
Thanks for having me. Woo!
Thanks for coming, man.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. It's really cool, man. It's funny. I don't know if I ever shared this with you, like chatting online or anything before, but you know Benoit?
Of course.
From,
yeah. My girlfriend was his best man in his wedding.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he did tell me that. He's the one that introduced you or me to your work. Okay. I basically got covered at his shop
Okay.
For the most part. I got tattoos from all over the place, but a ton of them from his shop. And
awesome.
Of course, he began to know me for my illustration and stuff. And he's like, who you should check out? Shawn Barber. And so as soon as he sent me your work, I was just like, damn, this guy's awesome. So it had.
Are you tattooed mostly by Tim?
Tim Biedron has done, like, he did my entire back.
Okay.
He did
lucky you.
Most my sleeves.
Okay.
Yeah. He's done quite a bit, and also Hannah did
great.
My neck tattoos for the most part, and then there's this guy there now, Bunny, who did my hand recently for my daughter, and I have another baby on the way, so I'll save that space there.
Nice.
But yeah, I have a few different artists there. I don't know if you know Zach that works there.
I believe
he's been there for years. And then Tim and James Kern have tattooed me a few times.
Nice.
I like to collect tattoos from people that I think are awesome. I'd love to get one from you someday. It'd be awesome.
You still have room?
I have leg room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to, man. I'd be stoked.
Yeah, it is one of those things where I'm kind of like, I don't know where to put things now.
Yeah. I have a couple of little spots left. That's it.
Yeah. So how you been, man, with all this craziness going on?
I'm doing good. I'm having a pretty okay time. I'm tackling projects at work and sanding like the shop floor and gonna revarnish it and just painting every day. We're lucky that we can do what we do at home.
Yeah.
It's been nice. I've been exceedingly productive.
Yeah. That's the thing that's interesting about this is like it's not much different, I think, than what we would normally be doing. I mean, it's got to be a little bit different for you because you work in a tattoo shop as well. So, obviously there's no one getting tattooed right now.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's like I'm just in the studio anyways for the most part.
Right. I was telling Kim, I think this is a little bit of what it would feel like if we were retired, or we're not going to work and we're just being home, cooking and hanging out with cats and making art. It's good.
Yeah, it is kind of cool. I mean, it's one thing I think for us artists that kind of keeps us sane. Like I have noticed for myself personally, I'm starting to have all these different ideas of things I can do to try to be a little bit more productive and different things I can work on and so it's cool that way. It's what's it been like? You're in LA, right?
Yeah.
Is it? You guys are pretty much locked down right there, right?
We're in the center of the city. We're in Mid-Wilshire, Fairfax district. We're kind of in the middle of everything. It feels like a suburb right now. Not that it isn't a suburb. There's not a lot of cars. A lot of people walking and not hiking. A lot of people walking and jogging and riding their bicycles. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
We're supposed to stay at home. We can go out and do those things. Restaurants are closed only for takeout delivery. Just non-essential stuff is is all closed.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it's like here. I took my dog out last night before I went to bed, and it was weird, man. So I'm like right in the city in Chicago, and there was like not only was there no cars or anybody walking around, it was just like normally even at night when you walk around, you hear that sound of cars, just like that city sound. It was just nothing. It was really weird, man. It's a very strange feeling. But for the most part, yeah, it just sounds like it's pretty much the same thing. You guys been binging any shows? Getting into that Tiger King thing?
We did binge watch. Oh, Kim didn't want to watch. They were a little too redneck for her. The tattoo community has an individual from the 80s, 70s, 80s, Roy Boy. You ever heard of Roy Boy Tattoo? Indiana.
Sure.
He was a Tiger man, and he made a lot of videos back in the day.
Oh, that's awesome.
You should. Anybody does not know of Roy Boy, he predates all these idiots, and he's a lot cooler. Check out his videos,
dude. It's it's funny how I did a sketch of that guy last night just because I was like, I just had to do a little doodle of him, but it's so crazy how everyone's just that's all anyone's talking about is this Tiger King thing.
Yeah,
it's like hard in a way though. It's hard to watch it like.
That's sad.
It feels so just I don't know. Like the whole time I was feeling bad for all the people that work there, and also like what they were doing with those cats. It's crazy, man. It's just like it's nuts.
Yeah, they don't have the cats don't have a choice in the matter. That's the sad part of it.
Yeah, it's crazy though. I mean, it's weird too. I already kind of knew this, but just being reminded of it that there's like only like 4,000 tigers in the wild, and like close to maybe 10,000 in the United States just in captivity. Yeah. It's kind of crazy too. But yeah, I mean, we pretty much. My wife, we have a 2-year-old, and then she's gonna have another baby in the beginning of July. So she's been pretty much like going to bed kind of like 8 or 9 at night, and I'm just like, what's on till like So last night I was sketching and watching Ozark.
We just finished that.
Dude, that's
third
crazy.
season. It's amazing.
The new one you just finished? Yeah.
Yep.
I know. With no spoilers, that ending, like it just literally like what, and then it just ends. You're just like,
yeah. They tied it together real nice, but you didn't see that coming. Yeah, that was awesome.
It was awesome, man. So what kind of things are you working on right now? With you got a couple huge pieces right there, but are you just like you have a show that you're working for?
I had a show coming up in June with Carl Dobsky and Cora Kaufman.
Yeah.
Here in Los Angeles. I don't know if it's going to get postponed. The gallery's Maxwell Alexander. They mostly show like Southwest art and realism. But I'm working on several things for that. I'm working on a few commissions. I'm going to sneeze.
Corona.
No. I'm working on a lot of things. I'm started some things just to paint. I have a backlog of images, and I have maybe 30 or 40 people that I've photographed that I want to make paintings of.
Yeah.
Whether it's portraits of them or their hands or their tools or their workspaces. Like I started just kind of diving into those things that I've wanted to do.
Yeah.
So many elder tattooers have passed away the last couple of years actually, and I travel enough and have become friends with enough of them that I want to honor their memory and make paintings of them. So I'm doing a lot of that.
That's so awesome, man. One thing that I love. I'm a huge fan of your paintings. One thing I love about your paintings is that I love the sense of realism. You capture like a nice realism, but at the same time, they're almost, even though you're working with oils, there's almost a watercolory feel. Like they've got like real washy kind of brushy work that still comes together tight. I just love that technique. And I also love what you do with like the hand portraits, where you show the several different almost ghost angles of the hands, so you can see the whole. It's an interesting way because you can't really capture someone's arm unless you do that.
Right.
It's
but
really cool.
The tattoo doesn't really look like. It looks so different in a flat image than it does in real life. And to really try to show the volume of somebody's tattoo and the illustration that's on the body, it doesn't translate well into a painting. So I'm trying to like do a little.
That's so awesome. I love that. It's also just so mind blowing. Some of your paintings, I just look at it for forever. You've got like a room with just like all the tools and everything, and I'm thinking, geez, that looks annoying to like, because I'm thinking of it from an illustration perspective. I'm like, no way, dude, because I'm thinking about how much time I usually get. Like I don't have much time, but that's one thing that's nice about those. That's like your own paintings or whatever. I don't know if some of them are probably commissioned too, but it's just beautiful how you handle it. I love the way that you handle that. It's awesome.
A lot of that stuff, I'm fortunate to make. I started my career as an illustrator, so I've mostly made a living doing that over the years, and then painting and showing in galleries. So making a little bit of living doing that, and tattooing kind of helped flatten the financial landscape where I can kind of paint whatever I want.
Yeah,
and things sell, but I'm not driven by art sales.
Yeah,
so I take on things that are, a couple of years worth of work that I might not make any money doing.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's a totally different art world than I'm used to. I was talking with David Kassan about that, and he kind of blew my mind because he was, I don't know if you've seen, like, doing these giant crazy paintings.
Yeah, David's a good friend.
And I just assumed that was a commission piece, right? Because it's just so crazy. It took him like 3 years, and it's just massive. And he's like, oh no, I just did that because I wanted to, and I'm hoping. Yeah. So, and I'm like,
exactly.
That's insane. It's insane.
Yeah, what David's doing is really
amazing.
Special. And he's
honoring
a community that is still going strong.
No, it's amazing. His work's awesome. One thing I was gonna ask you about is, like, it drives me nuts. There's one thing I like about what you're doing with your paintings, because I noticed this with artwork. I noticed this in movies. Tattoos always look like shit, especially in movies. I can't tell you how many times it's like, have you ever, like, you're spending millions of dollars doing a movie, you're spending all this money on special effects, and then you got this guy with tattoos, and it's just black, and there's no. It just looks like it's laid on. You can't even, Are
you talking about fake tattoos that are put on somebody to look like tattoos in a movie?
They never look. I've hardly ever seen one that looks real. But still, even when it comes to illustration or fine art, there's a lot of times you see people trying to do tattoos, and it just, and the one thing I think about when I've done it or when I see your work is, it's all about capturing the light, right, and the right values and everything. And that's one thing that's awesome is, you look at your paintings and they just have like this nice sense of realism, but the tattoos just feel like they belong there, rather than,
thanks.
I
think because I love the art form and I practice it, my interest lies in kind of honoring the tattoo drawings as they are and trying to embrace, the line work and the image for what it is. And I'm not trying to necessarily copy the photo and disregard what the tattoos are on the body. I really want people to know what they are. I want to know what they are. I'm painting, folks that are in their 60s, 70s, 80-year-olds, and it's really hard to tell what is on their body because it's kind of mushy, But I personally want to understand what it is, and by constantly trying to figure out what's on their body, it really shows what it is because I'm really focused on it, I think.
It's so interesting too, because not only are you painting like a portrait or whatever, but you have to, like, capture whoever did that tattoo as well, like capture all that. It's interesting. There's so much history there
changing
too.
It.
Yeah, that's interesting. Do you have you ever been asked by someone that you've tattooed to do a painting of their tattoo on, like
Yeah,
the
I've
arm
done
or whatever?
a little bit of that. Not so much, but a little bit of that.
Because it's like doing it twice.
Right? Right. I don't want to do it twice.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, how long have you been doing tattooing?
It is 15 years now.
Wow, that's crazy.
I'll be 50 this year. So I started when I was 35. I quit teaching and kind of slowed down commercial work to focus on tattooing.
And you guys do a lot of, I see it's memoir tattoo, right?
Yep.
So, and you guys do like a lot of workshop type things there. I think I've seen you guys doing like demos and stuff.
I Prima night there for a few years. When we started, there was Kim and myself, and then a third person. And then over time, we just added more stations and more friends came to work with us. So it wasn't an option to, move everything out and set up that situation. But I was teaching classes out of the space for a while. It was nice. And then it just couldn't happen.
Yeah. Huh. That's interesting. I mean, that's like, it's funny because like the picture, I remember seeing like pictures of it, and it just looks so cool because it just has like this, I don't know, it looked like a real. I mean, the studio or the tattoo shop looks awesome, but I mean, when from the photos I remember seeing, it's like this looks like the coolest art school ever. I think I've seen like Paul Booth doing that as well.
Yeah.
I think they've been doing that, but that's awesome, man. So tattooing for 15 years, like, was it getting into tattooing? Was it for the idea of, hey, like this could be, because I've thought about it. I've toyed with the idea before because I figure, I probably could learn how to do it. And it seems like it would be more steady sometimes because the illustration can be kind of scary every once in a while,
Sure.
Was that kind of like a thought behind it, or did you always want to kind of get into that? Because you were painting way before that, right? Like illustrating.
Yeah. My interest in tattoos started in 1986. I got my first tattoo at 16. I started drawing flash and tattoos for a local guy where I grew up, who awesome. He couldn't draw, and traded drawings for him to get tattoos. But at the time I wanted to draw superheroes. Like that was my focus. That's all I wanted to do until my mid-20s. And then I went to art school and fell in love with painting. Tattooing, I had been a fairly tattooed person, and then I started painting tattooers. I moved to San Francisco, and that changed everything for me and opened me up to, really what the community is and what the art form is. And as I was, continuing to document tattoo artists and all that, I'm like, why am I not doing this?
Yeah.
My studio mate, Henry Lewis, encouraged it. He's like, dude, why aren't you tattooing? I'm like, I'm 35,
Yeah.
It kind of didn't make sense financially to make that shift at the time. Like, well, I'm kind of making a living already. And, when you start something new, especially tattooing, you're not going to make money for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was a difficult choice at that age. And I just took the leap. I'm like, if I'm going to do it, I need to do it now.
Mm-hmm.
Why wait? And I just went. It was pretty stressful, but really exciting.
Yeah, because I mean, and that's another thing that, like Ben at Deluxe has said, hey, if you ever want to like apprentice and whatever else, but I thought about it because I was like, that would be like I could, if I could tattoo a certain amount of hours a week, I could guarantee this and that, because there's been ups and downs in the illustration world.
Sure.
Like right now, at our time right now is a little bit creepy. I'm not sure what's happening, but then there's that exactly what you just said, where I was thinking, man, I don't know if I don't know. I don't have that time. How am I gonna have that time to kind of commit to this
hobby?
No, you have to like commit full on. Like you have to be
that's
there.
that's on the way to do it. Like
Yeah.
it demands your attention because you're not going to see progress unless you do it.
Yeah.
And out of the gates, like even if you're a skilled artist, there's going to be flaws in what you're doing.
Oh, of course.
And you have to live with the fact that this is permanent, and it's a nice ego check. It's very humbling,
Yeah, I can imagine. It's funny. I was on years ago. What's the name of it? Somehow I ended up on 2 different tattoo shows.
Okay.
Like Hannah Atchison.
Like competition shows?
Yeah, she was on one called Best Ink.
Best Ink, yep.
And she's like, hey, I know this. They wanted an illustrator for an episode, so I did a guest judge spot on that, and that was really awkward and weird because it was so fake. Yeah. The artists were just all terrible, really bad. And I'm supposed to go around and like talk about their work, and I was pretty brutally honest. And they were like, "Well, can you try to find something nice to say?" I'm like,
"Yeah."
And then I at one point
it's all calculated.
Oh, dude, I had to they made me stand this close to this girl's face, like that, and I had to tell her to her face that she's being kicked off.
Oh wow!
And I was like, "Why do I have to say this? Like, I'm only here for one episode."
Right. We want you to do the dirty work.
Yeah, she started crying.
Oh man!
And it was just like, oh, I don't even know anybody. This is so weird.
Yeah.
But then through that, I ended up getting asked to be on Tattoo Titans. It was a CMT show filmed in Jersey. And
I never saw it.
It was only one season, I think. And the way that they set that one up was every episode, it's almost like Iron Chef. So they have one episode, it's 4 tattoo artists. They take two days to film one episode. They have 4 artists. They do a challenge. The judges judge. One of them gets off. They do another challenge. The judges judge. Another one gets off. And basically, there's one left, and they win $10,000, and they're a tattoo titan or whatever.
Yeah,
and I was
the best in the world.
Oh my gosh! And I was doing it was so what was his name? Alani James or
Ami James.
Ami James. Yeah, he was the main judge. He was a hard ass the whole time, and there was
a nice guy.
Yeah, no, he's really nice, but his they had him on as that role to kind of be the guy, he's the guy that gives it to him,
Okay.
And but yeah, he's super nice dude. And then I can't think of the girl's name, but there was this model who was she's all tatted up. She was a judge.
Okay. And
then they had me on this episode, and I'm just going to be brutally honest and whatever else. And the funniest thing was there was this woman who has said she's been tattooing for 29 years, and she's got her own shop. And this challenge, there's volunteers that say, yeah, you can tattoo on me and whatever, which is insane. So these people
you gotta know what you're signing up for,
dude. And so they sign up for this thing, and I'm watching through. I'm in in a room with a TV, so I can see. We're watching them, and every once in a while, Ami goes out there and talks to him, and he comes back in, and I'm starting to freak out. I'm like, this is so bad. This woman. Okay,
that's cool. You got to see it.
Oh, dude,
from that perspective.
But I'm supposed to be on TV and judging and stuff, and so it gets to a point. So this woman, we're talking in the background. I'm like, this woman, she's got to go because she should never tattoo a person ever again. And
there's a lot of that.
They gave them objects that they were supposed to work from, and the person she was tattooing, there was this book that's very special to her, and they actually have the book, and they have the option of going on Google to get more reference and stuff.
Okay.
And the tattoo was one of the worst tattoos I've ever seen in my life. The book was the crappiest looking book. Everything was terrible. And when it got to me talking to her, I actually felt upset because she kept making excuses. After Ami talked to her, she's making excuses, all stuff. And I remember it was the funniest thing because I just said to her, I said, listen, I feel like what you did was just so terrible for this person. Damn. And I was like, don't you understand? This is on them for the rest of their life. And I said, I have never done a tattoo in my life before. Okay. Yeah. but I know I would have done a way better tattoo than you. And I was like, you know how? I said, listen, I work for illustration magazines and everything, and we have to make sure that the sketches are approved and that we have a strong design before we commit to doing a painting. And that's only in publication. This is on someone's fucking body. Yeah. And we gave you the book. Yeah. You have Google. How in the world could you do such a fucking terrible tattoo?
Not everybody should be doing it.
And I just told her, I said, even though I have never tattooed before, I said my tattoo would have been way better. You want to know why? Because I would have had a strong design before I committed, and maybe my lines would have been wiggly and some, it would have been some problems because I've never done it, but it still would have been better than that disaster that is on that person's body. You're out.
Wow.
It was like,
did they show all that when they?
No, they edited it to like little bits. Okay. But the worst part about this, like I said, I was there for 2 days.
Yeah.
They put me and my wife, she's my girlfriend at the time, but they put us in the same hotel as the tattoo artists. And that night, my wife and I are having dinner in the restaurant in the hotel and having some wine. And that woman comes and sits right next to us, and she's staring at us, and she gets on the phone and she's like, I'm looking at him right now. And she's like, seriously? I was like, no.
Oh,
and
my gosh.
I talked to the people the next day. I'm like, you put us in the same hotel? What if she's a psycho? And like, oh man, it was hilarious though. And then the last challenge was, because I was there, they wanted the last challenge to be between the last two people to be realistic portrait tattoos.
Okay.
And right away I go, Ami, these guys, they're not going to be able to do a good like portrait tattoo. There's no way. We should stop this from happening. and because by that point we could already tell how bad they were.
Yeah.
And he's like, we can't. The show's got to go. We have this. This is how it's got to go. And I finally was able to convince the producers of the show at least make it just black and white, no color.
Yeah.
Just because that will make it so. Because there's no way these guys can do this. And they finally did that. They did black and white, and oh my gosh, it was still so bad. The one tattoo was of a baby, and it looked like Gollum.
Oh my goodness!
It was so bad, and the guy's like, "I love it." It's like, no,
of course he does. Yeah, he doesn't know.
It was so that was like crazy, and when that aired, I invited all my friends in Chicago and stuff to come over, and we had like a big party, and everyone was just dying laughing.
Oh man!
Because then during the commercial break, I would explain to them like what really.
Sure. That's fucked up, man.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Have you ever done anything like that? Like any of those weird? Because there was a phase for a while. I was just like tattoo.
My girlfriend was on LA Ink. I
remember that. Yeah.
I did a guest walk on Miami Ink. I did a portrait of Cat shown at Art Basel. So they filmed a little bit there, and then I was on a couple episodes of LA Ink.
But did you have to like judge or anything like that?
No.
Oh, that's so weird.
It was just me as a painter.
Yeah, I feel like I should have.
They try to get us to a personal relationship on that. Or just both like, no.
It's so weird. Like, it's so funny how they set it all up. It's so fake. And it's, it was really funny when I was asked to be on Best Ink, I said, I was thinking, this could be cool. Maybe this will, help, give me a little bit more exposure or whatever. Who knows? Like, so, because they weren't they paid like, I think I got like, they flew me there, put me in a hotel and fed me, but I think I got like $50 a day or some crap like that. It was like, it wasn't very good. I can't remember. It might've been a little bit more than that, but it wasn't like that great. Yeah. But I was thinking exposure, this could help. And when I got there, when I got to the set, they gave me a script, and we're filming in I
was on that set. Kim did a guest judge on it.
Oh, okay.
It was in like Irvine.
Skid Row, I think something was where.
Oh, was it downtown?
Yeah, and but they handed me a script that they wrote.
Oh,
and they're like, and I was like, I have to memorize this. Like, this is what you want me to say? And I told them, I said, I was told that I was just gonna look at their art and talk to them about it. Oh, but
Yeah.
no, we want you to say this. And then I had to go back and forth, and I was like, listen, I am not comfortable with saying any of this stuff. So they finally,
Well, good for you.
they had like a earpiece they gave me. And while I'm trying to talk to them, there was a guy like telling me stuff. And I'm like, this is so confusing. And they were like, remember when you, because what they did was before I went and talked to them, they showed me all the artwork in a private room. And while I was talking about how I felt about that artwork, they were writing all this stuff down about what I said. So when I was actually talking to the people, remember when you said this? And I'm like, oh, so annoying. So
right? Yeah, it could be totally confusing.
Yeah, it was very strange. Yeah, good thing I didn't say some like repeat everything they're saying. You know, like don't just try not to make them cry too much. You know.
Oh,
it was weird, man.
Sounds like our school.
Yeah. It was so strange, man. So I had a question about like when you're doing your tattoo portraits, it seems like you do tons of like research. They seem very personable. I mean, there's like hundreds and hundreds of, it seems like people that you've painted that are, tattoo artists. And I was wondering, how do you pick who you're tattooing? Do you fly different places to photograph? And what's that process like for that?
Initially it came, it was my own personal interest in the artwork of specific tattooers and wanting to kind of embrace them as individuals. And then it, as I'm learning about more people in the community and the history of the craft throughout America and the rest of the world, I learn more about the individuals who have kind of elevated the art form. And, for me, it started with lists of people and personal relationships, building those relationships, and traveling to, a lot of tattoo conventions to interact with people. Yeah. And over time, traveling to their houses and their home studios and getting to know them more on a personal level, just, less on a kind of business surface level. Getting tattooed by people, it's the same thing as, if a young artist wants to learn how to tattoo, like how do you get your in? You go and get tattooed by the people who you want to learn from. Whether they give you an apprenticeship or not, you're going to learn by sitting there and having a conversation with them and watching them work, But I think I've documented, what do we have, 416 tattooed portraits in 15 years now.
That's amazing, man.
And I have a list of 60, 70 people that I still want to document, and there's no end to it.
That's so cool.
Pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love, like, even the one I'm seeing there in the car. I love one of my favorite things that you do is like you show like the motion, like several different views of the person, in the one painting. It's so awesome, man.
That was a trip. I went to Aachen, Germany for a tattoo convention. Did a couple workshops there.
That's awesome.
Did some alla primas in the booth, and then I went to Stuttgart to visit my friend Luke Atkinson and a couple of friends from Switzerland. Philip Liu and Tatine Liu came with photographer Tino Tocchino, and we rode in Luke's checkered cab to London to go to a convention there.
That's
so
awesome.
It was like, a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and then taking photos of that experience, appreciating and enjoying that experience, and then months later taking all of that photo scrap and kind of just sifting through it and asking myself, like, how do I make a picture out of this?
Yeah,
because so it's 6 different photos kind of put together to create one image that it, for me, reads of the experience.
Yeah. I love how that hand too on the leg. That's just awesome.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks,
just like so much character in that. It's so cool.
Yeah, Luke's he's a very tall man with long fingers.
Yeah, that's so cool. There's like just the way that the hand is posed and everything. You're just like, oh, that's so interesting. That's so awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love that kind of ghosting effect thing that you do. It's really cool.
It's layering.
Is that
a lot of glazing?
Yeah. Is that what do you is that like panel that you're painting on?
That's linen.
Linen, like a linen board, or is it?
Canvas, I work on linen. I work on wood, and I work on masonite. And for small pieces lately, I've been working on panels wrapped in canvas or linen.
Oh, cool.
That's a nice, awesome, stable surface that's got that canvas texture.
Yeah, I don't like, for myself, I don't like, I prefer painting on some kind of a board, like have like a linen attached to a board if possible. I've never gotten into the flimsiness of the canvas, like
for bigger works, it's just too hard for me to make, over 48 by 36. Like they just get heavy, and it's easier to make a canvas, large scale. And I make a lot of big work. It makes more sense.
Yeah. What's your like, I'm curious about your technique when you start working. Are you like, do you do like for this painting or any of these paintings, do you do a study first, like a small sketch, or
I do a thumbnail.
You do like a smaller.
I do thumbnails of like pretty loose thumbnails of compositions. And then I do a Photoshop composition. And then I usually, like with the painting of the checkered cab trip, I had a loose composition, and then I went in and just painted a color field in the background to get some paint on the surface and to have just colors of tone to go on top of. Let that dry, sand it. And then I just started with that central image, and then built off of that. And as I'm,
cool.
I don't project anything. I print out my photos, the scale that they're going to be painted. I print them out 8 by 10 sheets of paper, cut them all together, tape it together, so I have like a big, physical paper stencil. And then I do a carbon transfer stencil. I put Seiler transfer paper underneath it. I use a non-photo blue. That's pretty dense, and it goes over most colors. So I do a quick transfer, and then I start painting off that. I like using the physical printout to do a transfer. So after my figures dry, I can actually cut, like if it's an arm that has a tattoo on it, I can cut out that printout after I have the dried painting on there and re-stencil the tattoo over that arm.
Oh, cool.
So it just kind of it makes it fast and efficient.
Yeah, that's what I do with I do basically the same thing where I work on my sketch, so it's proportionate to the size of my canvas, and then I print off like tiles and pieces, tape it together, and then I do the but actually what I've been using for years, someone gave me like a stack of this old typewriter paper. It's like blue with the black on the back, the I don't know if it's carbon or whatever the heck that stuff is.
Yeah.
It's super permanent though, but it works. I found out, like, I think I did when I transferred that one out to there. I still have to finish that thing. But that's what I did with that. But it's like really like one little mark, and it's just like it's there. It doesn't go away. But it's kind of nice because you can kind of just do a quick block in on top of it just to kind of go over the lines.
Does the paint mix in with that or no?
Not really. I mean, like normally, like when I've done like a color painting, I like if I do like a raw umber, like for like a rough block in, it might mix in slightly, but it's not enough that it disturbs anything. And then I just start building off of that. But yeah.
Do you see it through the surface or no?
No.
That's good.
You mean like once the painting's done, or like as you go? No.
Okay.
But I switched to that brand that you were talking about.
Sarah?
But I haven't tried the photo blue. I just did like a graphite, and I kind of felt like it was too easy to wash away.
Different.
It made me a little nervous.
Like different rolls have different densities. Like sometimes you'll get a graphite that's pretty opaque, and sometimes it's really light.
Yeah.
The non-photo blue is always super chalky, and I feel like I can read it the best.
Yeah, I should try that because I was having that problem because like the typing paper that I've been using, sometimes it's so intense. Like I feel like it's too dark, and I want it to be a lot lighter when I start. But I try the photo blue stuff. That's a good idea.
It's
and
bright.
You just put it on like but you said that you can read it over, like if you already like did like a layer of paint over the whole thing, you can still see it on top of that after you let it dry, or are you like doing it on just white?
You just have to cover it with paint.
No, but what I mean is like, when you do that, do you have like a white canvas, or do you like do a stain?
Oh, I do a gray ground.
Like a gray ground? Okay.
Put a gray ground down. Yeah,
okay.
I do white acrylic gesso with a little bit of carbon black acrylic, fluid acrylic mixed in with it.
Yeah.
I like a gray surface.
Yeah. That's kind of how I work as well. I don't like to start with just white. Yeah, that's awesome. That's cool, man.
With that sterile transfer, once you have a dry painting, if any of that chalkiness shows through, you can take a warm, wet paper towel with just water on it and kind of wipe it over the surface, and it'll pull all that carbon off.
Wow. It still shows up even through the oil paint?
If you don't paint over it. Like you got to paint over it.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
If there's remnants of it in between, like edge to edge.
I see what you're saying. Okay. That's interesting. That's awesome, man. How long do you typically spend on a painting? I mean, they vary in size, obviously, but you seem like you've got a very painterly style. But I don't know, like what's the kind of approach with? I guess what I'm trying to ask is like, what kind of brushes are you using? Like bigger? Are you work mostly big? Because you get like a really nice kind of washy feel.
I'm using a broad range of brushes. Yeah, a lot of filberts, a lot of 2 to 8. All of my, I think, energy intensity comes in the first couple days, where I have the idea, I have the canvas stretched, the surface prepped, I have my reference ready, and I just want to attack the thing. And then I'll spend 10 hours the first day and just give 500% to this painting, and just all of my energy is focused on it, and like that's when all my enthusiasm is there as well.
Okay, that makes sense.
A couple days of that, and then it becomes work.
yeah.
And it turns into a painting that might be 3 months, 6 months, 2 years.
Yeah.
Like some of these things just.
And are you like, is it, do you do more of like a direct painting, or do you do like an underpainting first, or is it, or is it mostly just jumping right in with the color?
I do a direct painting that is like, if this is my color value, I'm going in between that. Like I'm trying to get it, but it's not exact. So I try to get as close to the color and value as I see, but it's never right on.
Yeah.
I'm giving an impression that looks, so somebody doesn't know any better. Oh man, that looks like a finished painting. But in my eyes, it's halfway there, not even halfway there.
Yeah. No, I definitely, that's awesome. I can relate to that. It's kind of frustrating sometimes, isn't it? Like, it's funny. Like I've done that before, like where you show a painting, like while you're working on it, you're like excited about how it's looking.
Yeah.
And you want to share it with some people.
Yeah.
And then they're like, dude, it looks done. It's like, oh, no. There's so much
nowhere
more.
near being done.
It's like, no, that's great, just the way it is. Like, no, like, maybe I shouldn't have showed this,
Right.
That's crazy. That's awesome, man. Like, do you, it's so amazing. Like like, for example, the guy that I'm seeing behind you, with all those tattoos, is just insane. I mean, are you basing it mostly on one reference, or are you using several different references?
This is a couple different references.
Yeah, it seems like it would have to be. It's so crazy. almost. That's like, how big is that painting? Is it 4 feet?
It's 72 by 48. 6 foot by 4 foot.
Oh wow, jeez, that's crazy, man. That's pretty. You've painted him a couple times, right?
I painted Lyle a few times. Yeah. He became a close friend the last couple of years before he passed. And I visited him in Northern California and just stayed with him and learned a lot about him. And
lost you for a second. I don't see you.
Gone.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, Lyle was a special individual in the community. He's tattooed on every continent.
Oh, wow.
You know, he was the first kind of real celebrity tattooer. He tattooed Janis Joplin, Cher, Paul Stanley. He was a man who saw everything and remembered it all and had the best stories and was a collector of everything tattoo, and kind of when it wasn't cool and interesting, he embraced it, and he just amassed a collection of probably the largest collection of tattoo ephemera of anybody in the world. And
wow,
he's building. He had a museum, and then his collection went into storage. And over the last few years, they were trying to rebuild the idea of making a physical museum. And Danielle Boyardi, who's kind of taken over the reins of the collection, is still on that path of trying to make it happen.
That would be awesome.
Trying to help support that. And, it's a really special community. And I'm super fortunate to be a part of it,
Yeah. No, that's really cool. I talked with Tim Biedron. He was on my podcast a while ago, and I can't remember exactly. I was basically just saying how I was thinking about how, it's got to be so much. Like, is there like a weird connection with tattoo artists and the people they're tattooing? Just because it's got to be. I just imagine, like, if I'm spending, I'm not just doing art, I'm also touching this person, and like they're bleeding and I'm wiping their blood, and they're in pain. Maybe they're in more pain. There's like this weird, almost a strange. It's way more like a connective approach to like in art. And I was just wondering,
there's a feeling of being connected to humanity. I think there's even if you're an asshole, like you learn some kind of empathy for the human experience. I think there's no job like this job. It's a really unique thing to do.
Yeah,
I can't explain it. It's wild.
I mean, I've always I've kind of it's interesting. Like, pretty much most of the people that I've gotten tattooed by, I've gone back to them, and it's like you develop like a friendship with them. It's like, it's like, hey, this guy tattoos me, like, you don't tattoo me, this guy tattoos me. And it's kind of a unique thing, but yeah, it's just interesting. I wanted to ask you, because I think I asked this to Tim as well, and he had sort of, it's like, I don't know if we want to share that or whatever, but I'll just ask you anyways, just because why not see where it goes.
Yeah.
Do you have any crazy, interesting stories, either with tattooing or doing paintings of tattoos with the people, or just anything interesting and crazy that you think people might be interested in hearing about? Just whatever. It doesn't matter if it's, because
I'm not the best storyteller in words.
First thing that comes to mind about like something crazy that happened, if you're comfortable with talking
in the shop or just
any tattooing, because I just find that people, like, years of doing that, there's got to be some kind of something.
There's always something happening.
Yeah,
I think that happens actually quite often. That isn't crazy and it's very normal. Is especially people who have gotten tattooed, they're getting tattooed for the first time. There's a lot of anxiety that they have in the assumption of what the process is going to be like. And I don't think a lot of people are necessarily mentally or physically prepared for it. And everybody deals with it in different ways. People don't necessarily have a dense enough meal before they come in. I'd say a couple times a month somebody passes out in the shop. where we all know the signs. It's like, okay, is their skin getting cold? Are they conscious of the fact that this might be happening to them? And we're all prepared for it. We have lollipops and ice packs, and
the lollipops.
it's like, we're ready. We're professionals, and it's something. When it happens to a client, I think at times people get embarrassed for it. It's like, it just happens.
Yeah. I remember the first time I got my sleeve, because I already had like tattoos, like random small ones, but I never got like a huge tattoo. Mm-hmm. And Tim did my first sleeve, and I didn't eat anything before I came in, and so he did all of the line work in one sitting, from my wrist all the way to my chest and shoulder, everything. And I got, what some people call like the tattoo flu. So like by the end of it, I was just had the shakes, and and I learned that, always. So from then on, I'd always like get like a Subway sandwich or something just before going in, just because,
well, it's a journey. Like, unless you're getting like a little small thing, if you're getting tattooed for more than a couple hours, it is a journey, and it's for the artist and the client, it's it's a dance of like, holy cow, I'm still dealing with this. How am I still doing this? Oh, this isn't so bad. Holy shit, this is horrible. Like it's your brain is going through all the emotions. You're thinking about things that you can't be doing right now. Like it's a forced break from work. I can talk about one story that personally I think was kind of wild. I was traveling, making tattoos on people. Did a guest spot in New York at Last Rites at Paul Booth's place. And Paul's place is one where, they don't do religious tattoos. They don't do, very happy tattoos there. I don't know if you know anything about Paul or Last.
Do you know Fred Harper?
I know Fred. Fred's awesome.
Yeah, he's a good buddy of mine. So he's friends with Paul.
Straight
that's awesome.
Young woman was a fan of my paintings and tattoos, and at the time I'd also been painting like a lot of dolls in different situations. I love those paintings. Yeah, thanks, man. And she wanted like a kind of like a bluish baby tattooed on her ribs.
Yeah.
And I did this big kind of creepy dead baby on her body. She really, you have somebody sign a release form, and if somebody wants to get it and you don't want to do it, they're going to get it somewhere. My first year in tattooing in San Francisco, I was doing a lot of free tattoos on kids in the neighborhood, and young
Crips and Bloods, like what?
Just young kids in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
It was a young, very, very, very dark skinned black kid, and he had a very, very, very hairy chest, and he wanted a gorilla on his chest that said "King of the Jungle." And I'm like, dude, you can't even see it. He's like, I want it, man. I'm like, all right, you got it, buddy.
Jeez.
It's a service job,
Yeah, it's interesting. I always just find it interesting because like every time I've gone in to get tattooed, there's always something fun going on.
Oh yeah.
When I got my back done by Tim, we did the entire outline in one day, and it was like 6 or 7 hours or something, and it was brutal. Like I've never really been that like bad with tattoos. Like, some area might hurt a little bit more than another. You just whatever, get through it. But I found the back to just be like almost unbearable.
It's no fun. Yeah, it's
like
fun.
Just
he's slicing through your skin.
Oh, dude, it's just, and so I'm sitting there. Basically, he's just got the bottom part left, and it's gotten to the point now where I'm on my side, and he's only got this small section left. And every time he touches me, I'm just like, it's just like I can't do this, dude. And I'm just trying so hard because I know I'm trying hard for him too. And then I remember this guy. I'm sitting there laying there, and this guy comes in to start getting tattooed by the other guy, and he's getting a small little thing in his arm. And I remember I'm sitting there literally doing Lamaze, and this guy starts, as soon as he starts just tattooing on his arm, the guy's just like, and I was just like, you have no idea. You know, and this is like, I remember just getting even more aggravated, just like you're ruining my last 15 minutes. Just shut up. Like,
what Tim put on your?
It's like a Japanese kind of style tiger and a dragon. It's like a
cool.
tiger on the bottom and a dragon coming up, and
oh, shit.
yeah, it's pretty cool. But it was funny because after he did the line work. So my tattoo went from like May to October. Like I'd come in every few weeks or so and do more work. And I remember after he did the line work, I remember having that thought, like, it doesn't need to be colored. It's
well, you can't see it anyways.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine, you know.
You guys finish it?
Oh yeah. No, I finished it. But I there was a moment there I was like, it's fine. I don't need to finish it.
That's
but then he was like, hey, when are we gonna start getting color in this thing? I'm like, oh, dude. And one thing I did, I was thinking, man, there's got to be something like I can do, something that could knock me out, or you know what I mean? Because this is just so brutal. And so I can't remember coding. This woman I knew, she's always taking pain medicine. And she was the sister-in-law. She was like my mother-in-law's sister, my ex-mother-in-law. But she gave me raw codeine. And she said, she's like, this will knock you out. And so I took that. Careful. Well, yeah, Tim got really pissed at me because I took that and I just like passed out.
Yeah.
And then he was like, he's like, dude, did you take something? You know, he got so mad. Yeah. I learned right there. I'm like, I'm so sorry, man.
Well, we're reliable, you know.
I was just I was just trying to take the edge off, you know. And he's like, don't ever do anything like that again. I'm like, I'm so sorry, bro. Yeah. You know. Yeah. So, you know, I was trying to just like, how can I get through this? So I just the rest of the time I just toughed it out, and it's just weird because I never expected the back to be that bad. Someone told me.
You have your butt tattooed?
No, not my butt. Is that it's way worse?
Butt's worse. Under the butt's even. That's fucking gnarly.
Oh no way, dude. No, I don't. No, man.
if you get covered in tattoos and you have this shiny white ass, it's gonna look weird.
Yeah, but I'm not walking around naked anyways. But yeah, I do remember like the back. Like I remember just thinking about it. I'm like, duh. It's like all bone. Basically, the whole thing. And like, where's the worst place to get tattooed? Bone. Like, you know, my neck wasn't bad, but my collarbone. Yeah, collarbone sucked a little bit. Elbow wasn't that bad actually. But yeah. Anyways, yeah, I remember feeling so bad and just telling Tim, dude, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. He's like, so it's cool, man. Just don't be a pussy. I'm like, all right.
That's amazing. Yeah, I finished my back piece this year. It took about 4 years. A good friend in Portland, Dell. I have a dragon, tiger, and skull.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's so much fun though. I haven't been tattooed for so long though. Well, actually, I got the hand tattoo for my daughter, and I'll get my right hand tattoo for my next daughter. I don't know what I'm gonna get yet. I gonna wait a while to figure that out. But I was shocked with the hand tattoo because like normally my tattoos like it's funny. I was expecting the hand to hurt way more just because I didn't know what it was like to get tattooed.
There's a lot of veins there.
Yeah, I just assumed it was gonna be like worse. But actually during the tattoo I was like, oh, this is nothing. Felt totally like, oh, this is no big deal. But what was weird to me about it was the healing process. I don't know if this is something that's normal or weird with me, but the healing process with my hand seemed to like take forever. Like it took weeks. Where like normally a week later, my tattoo seems to be healing pretty well. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't get my ring off, my wedding ring. I should have not had that on. My whole hand swelled up like crazy, which I expected that. But then. Yeah, it was like 3 weeks or so where it was just like this is not healing right.
Yeah. Well, you don't know what you don't realize how much you use your hands and what your hands are rubbing on. Like if you're putting your hand in your front pocket of your pants or whatever it is. Like,
I was walking around like this, dude.
Okay.
No, it was just
they make the last few years they make this thing called Tegaderm second skin. Different brands of it's like a clear film. It's a bandage that you put on over your tattoo while it's healing, and it makes it heal so much faster. It's so much easier.
What's it called?
We use a brand called Seiler. At like CVS, you can buy this stuff called Tegaderm, Tegaderm.
Okay.
It's what they designed for burn victims to keep the skin intact.
Oh, wait, what was the first thing called that you said?
Second skin.
Okay. Yeah, dude. My wife, maybe almost 2 weeks ago now, had a terrible accident. She spilled all this bacon grease all over her left hand. Her whole hand was covered in it. And right away put it on cool water. It looked fine. It was just red, and then she bandaged it up and got her rings off. And 4 or 5 hours later, just giant, huge blisters everywhere, just swollen up like nasty. It was bad. And then she had to actually go and get everything cut off.
Oh,
and then,
shit.
Skin
cut off?
Yep. And then they had to scrub it. They had to rub and scrub the wounds. It's bad. I'll show you pictures later.
Damn.
I'll send you a picture. You won't believe it. And like she's like 6.5 months pregnant, so it was like on top of that, they rushed her out of the they didn't want her in a hospital. She went to like a urgent care place. Yeah. And she sat down. They didn't waste time. They start cutting it out right away, scrub it, and then they wrapped her up and sent her out. But they gave her that stuff I think that you're talking about.
Okay.
Rub all over.
It works really well.
Yeah. But man, it's brutal, dude. I have a friend who works in special effects in New York, and he's Mike his thing's called Profinex, or I'm blanking on. I'm gonna get it right so people can look him up. But here, his Instagram. I'm gonna go to it real quick so people can check it out, and you can check it out. But his name is Mark Marino, but his Instagram is ProRenFX, and like he's an amazing special effects artist. He works on like tons of movies and TV shows and stuff.
Nice.
And I was like, dude, you want some reference pictures?
Oh shit!
So I sent him pictures of my wife's hand, and he's like, damn, dude, like yeah, you need to look at some zombie references. This is it, dude. Like the day after they cut everything off, it literally looks like Walking Dead. Like it's it's brutal.
How's she doing now? Is she all healed?
Well, no, it's way better now, but its skin is starting to grow back.
Yeah,
but it is
resilient.
Oh, dude, brutal. And now she's like dealing with the itch, like that terrible itch, you know. And every day she's got to like clean it really well, put that stuff on, wrap it up.
Yeah.
I just feel bad because right now this is already sort of a stressful time. It's kind of weird going on. She's almost 7 months pregnant. We've got a 2-year-old that she's, you know, while I'm working and doing this kind of stuff, she's chasing her around. And so it's like, then she's got her hand all wrapped up. So it was crazy, dude.
And then my 2-year-old, Jason.
My 2-year-old was there and almost stepped in. I came into the kitchen just when it happened, and I just grabbed her and like slid her across the floor. Basically,
yeah.
She was barefoot, no pants on.
Damn.
Could have been bad, dude. But thankfully, it wasn't as bad as you know. But anyway.
Yeah. Shit happens.
Yeah, dude. I've never seen anything like that in my life. I'll send you the pictures. It's nuts, dude. It's gnarly. And I'll just say this. I don't think I can ever have butterscotch anything ever again. It was just gross.
It happens.
But I have. I want to show you some fan art. There's I think 7, 8, or 9 paintings.
Nice.
Drawings that people did of you.
Yeah.
So tell me if you see the screen.
Okay.
When I share this, and then do you see that?
Oh, that's fucking funny. That's amazing. That's awesome. I like the hair. Dude, that's so rad. Super cool.
Yeah.
I like I love the marks in it.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. It's got some cool brushwork in it. This is by Laurent Grassat, which I gotta apologize because he sent a piece last week, and somehow it got lost in the mix and I didn't get to share it. So apologize for that.
He even got my tattoo on my my upper torso in there. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. Those pics that you sent are just perfect, though, man. It's like these are the best pictures to work from. Man. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's amazing. I love my eyes. It's so fucking red. Who's that?
This is by Mark Davey.
Nice. Good job, Mark.
Yeah,
it looks like an alien.
That's great. I love this. I love every time I do this. It's so much fun for me. Even though I've been doing caricature and illustration for so long, it's like I don't know what people are gonna do and what they're gonna send in. It's so fun opening things up. I'm talking with Sean Cheatham's girlfriend next week. She's an awesome artist. Yeah, she's awesome. And people have already started sending drawings of her, and I'm like, wow, this is cool, man. Like literally an hour after I shared her work, people started sending me drawings like that quick. Awesome. So pretty cool. This is cool.
I like that.
And this one is by Jack Lemonnier.
That's awesome.
I'm just kidding, Jack. Jacques Lemonnier. I have to say his name like that every time. It's my favorite name.
Yeah, that's rad.
Lemonnier. Yeah, that's how you got all your tattoos, right?
Exactly. I drew them on myself. They're a little bit more involved than that, but I like it.
You know, it's funny when my 2-year-old started noticing my tattoos, she started going, "Oh no!" Like when she finally realized, she's like, "Oh no!" Like
that doesn't wash off, Dad.
Yeah, it's like stuck. This was by Christopher Hirschman.
Oh, wow. That looks just like me. That's rad.
Yeah, it's cool.
I like the mood of it. I like the texture of it. That's cool.
Yeah, it's got some cool textures. It's awesome. Let's see.
Is that person's name?
Christopher Hirschman.
Christopher, that's rad. Christopher, thank you.
I'll email these to you as well.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's fucking cool.
This is by Dominic Zaulinger.
I love the eyes on that. That's so cool.
Yeah. No, it's so cool. They look like comic bubbles. I mean, I think that's what they are.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Cool. Yeah, that's really cool. It's awesome.
Unique style.
This is cool too.
Nice. That's fucking amazing. Who is this person?
This is by Derek Brennan.
Yeah, I love the texture in that. That's so cool.
He's an awesome painter. He does digital and traditional painting.
Okay.
Pretty cool.
Pretty rad.
I'm confused a little bit about the background. Like I can't tell.
It looks like paint.
Yeah, I can't tell if that's a digital program that he created that texture with, or if that's actual real texture.
It looks physical.
Yeah, so I'm not quite sure. I mean, there's some digital tools out there where you can kind of do an impasto thing, but I'm not sure.
You got Whores in there too.
You got what?
The band Whores. You ever heard the band Whores?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're amazing. Yeah. Best live show ever.
That's cool.
Oh, nice.
This is cool. Oh, and this is by Ori Levy.
Nice.
From Israel, I believe.
It's rad. I like how he dealt with the eyes.
Yeah. See, the pictures you sent were just perfect, man. Like, so much fun expression to work with and stuff. It's awesome.
Right on. Thanks, man.
This one's really cool. This is by Ross Shu.
Nice.
Yeah. I like yeah, it's pretty awesome. I don't hardly ever see a lot of people doing like photo blue drawings and stuff like that, but this is cool, man.
I like
That's
the
pretty
mood.
awesome.
You got a COC shirt in there too.
Yeah. That's awesome. Oh, that's the last one.
Oh, right on, man. That's so cool. Thank you guys for doing this. So cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. Let me see. Am I back?
Yeah.
Okay. It's hard to tell on my end. Cool, man. That's awesome.
I see your face.
This one?
Yep.
So that's awesome, man. And thank you so much for doing this, man. This is really fun.
Thank you for asking me. It's an honor to do it.
Yeah, man. I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time.
I thought it was going to be longer.
Be longer, like our talk? Yeah. We can talk longer if you like.
No, it's all good, man.
No, I usually go about an hour or so. Sometimes it goes longer, just depending on whatever. But yeah, what do you like? What's your? That's one thing I wanted to ask you about your, with tattooing and painting. What's your schedule like as far as like how much do you end up committing to either of them a week? Because that's a lot of time to put into, like, if you're tattooing for like 8 hours or more a day, you're probably not going to be painting that day, are you? Or do you sometimes?
I have a pretty bizarre schedule. I paint 7 nights a week. My daily schedules: I wake up 11, 12, go to the shop by 1 o'clock. I do about 12 to 15 tattoos a month.
Okay.
I'm at the shop 5 or 6 days a week. If I'm not tattooing, I'm painting or doing other things there. I'm at work until 6, 7, 8, 9. Eat dinner, take a nap, 30-hour nap, and then I paint 11 midnight to 4 to 6 a.m. 7 nights a week. So most of my painting time is 11.
Wait. You, from when to when to
11
start
p.m.
painting?
to 5 a.m.
Wow, that's crazy. That's nuts.
There's no distractions. There's it's just me and the work, and that. In my 20s, I worked in a factory for about 2 years, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. And I think that really messed up my body clock. And I just have been a night owl. It just works for my brain and my body.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I mean, before I had kids, I used to do like all-nighters all the time. Mm-hmm. But I had to completely change everything. Just so I can, because like basically for me, I try to basically work during the day as much as possible. Yeah. And then by dinner time, I try to just be home. Yeah. And I try not to work weekends. I mean, the thing that's nice now, I got an iPad Pro a few years ago, and I just love that because I can still hang out with my family. Yeah. And just like, even if I have like a magazine cover, I can just sit there and start doing doodles on it and just like, prepping myself, but I'm still hanging out. I'm still watching a show with them or whatever. But yeah, it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the daughter number 4.
Crazy, man. It's crazy. It's a big family. Yeah, you're making it happen,
dude. And I mean, two of them go back and forth with their mother because I have them 50-50. But still, it's a full household.
Yeah. You know what the deadlines for commercial work. I'm used to doing. You get a job on Thursday, sketch due on Friday, final due on Monday. I think from years of doing illustration with that schedule, I'm just used to what. And being on California time, I can work Sunday night until 5 a.m., send the final at 5 a.m., so it's in New York by 8 a.m., Yeah. That's just work for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I remember that years ago when you got the Obama that you did. Was it for the Wall Street Journal or something like that? Or?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember being like shocked by that because I was like, I didn't know he did illustration stuff. I had no idea. So I was like,
I had a big career doing it.
Yeah,
I started off doing caricatures.
That's
I did a column for Maxim magazine. I did hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of illustrations.
That's awesome, man. That's so cool. Because I had no idea. Like when I first was, like I said, when I was first introduced to you, it was just, oh, this guy, he's this amazing oil painter. And then of course, like I didn't know you did tattoos at first. I just thought, this guy just really likes to paint tattoos. But yeah, I was surprised that when I saw the Obama thing, I'm like, well, I didn't know he did illustration type stuff, but it was mostly a portrait painting, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was.
That was pretty cool. It was like an inaugural thing or something.
Yep, it was an inaugural issue. Yep. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, that's so cool that you did. So that the illustration game, it's crazy, man. Like the deadlines are just weird because you don't know sometimes. Like some clients for me will give me a week, which is crazy. Yeah. Usually it's 1 or 2 days.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, you just don't know with it. But like that's one thing. When you did that Obama, for example, did you just like photograph it? Like because that's the one thing.
When I first started, I'd work in acrylic.
Oh, okay.
And I would flatbed scan things, and then as digital photography improved, I switched to oil and just took photos of my illustrations and sent digital files that way.
So you have like a good photo setup because I that's the one thing for me that I have not been able to figure out how to get good photos of my oil paintings. They just always look like they don't look like I'll be sending stuff to my clients like feeling like I have to explain to them. It looks so much better in person.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh,
I've gotten comfortable with them just looking the way they look.
Yeah. The photos,
yeah, that's what it is.
It's so
and I've had enough stuff in print to know what my photo looks like in the printed matter and how I can adjust the values and light in it so it looks more like what it looks like when it gets printed.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. That's what's interesting thing about painting in oils is it looks completely different everywhere. I did some portraits a year ago for a client that had to do 5 like 30 by 36 portraits, and I just was having the hardest time sending them accurate photos. And I would bring my paintings to different rooms in my house just to try to get like a variety to see what's the closest. But some would be too warm in color, so too cool. I try to shoot photos outside. It's like, oh, then there's weird shadows and oh man, I don't. But I'm not a photographer. I'm not very good. I know some artists have I think like Tim O'Brien. I don't know if you know who he is. He's like an illustrator.
Yeah, I know Tim.
So like he's I've heard that he has like a full on like camera setup where it's like
It's smart if you have that stationary area set up. Like it's always there, and what the results are going to be.
Yeah, that's the tricky thing. I remember. I still think it's amazing that there's still a good handful of illustrators I know out there that work traditionally.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Chris Payne still does, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. But I mean, here's one thing that's annoying is that. So, I don't know for sure with every illustrator, but I have heard like so I've called certain art directors. I'm like, oh wow, I saw the Chris Payne cover. I was like, that turned out awesome. It was really cool. How much time did he get? Like I want to find out because you give me like 2 days, so I'm just curious. He had about 5-6 days. I'm like, okay. So sometimes 5-6 days are available sometimes. Yeah. But I ended up like I was doing acrylic pretty much for everything when I first started, and then a friend of mine convinced me to start trying digital, and I didn't want to. I thought digital was just like kind of cheating, and then
it makes sense for commercial work.
Yeah, I kind of just realized like it's the only thing that's lame about it is like then I could sell an original, but I mean when you're doing like a lot of like illustration work that's like political things or things like that,
so
no one wants
to a time and place.
No one wants to buy a painting of Donald Trump doing so it's Some
It could be your retirement plan when you're old.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's the same thing with conventions. Like, a lot of people are like, "Oh, you should come to conventions and sell prints of your work." And it's kind of like, like I painted a time cover with this woman in a wheelchair, and I'm really happy I did it. I'm proud of it. Who's gonna want to buy a print of that? You know what I mean? Like, it's like a time cover. You know what I mean? Like, for me, it's exciting and awesome.
Sure.
But I don't know. It's one of those things where people have been asking me for a while, like, you should come to these conventions and sell prints. And I'm just like, of what? Create a bunch of cool pieces. I don't have time for that. To create a bunch of cool pieces, extra things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever done those besides like tattoo conventions? Like gone to any like art convention type things? Basil, you said, but
yeah, San Diego Comic-Con I did a couple times years ago. For education, just out of college, I went to was it Society of Illustrators? What was that?
Oh yeah,
I forgot what it was like was it Society of Illustrators? No, what was it? I don't remember.
Where
it was it was in New Mexico. Is it New Mexico? I met David Casson there. I met James Jean there. I met a lot of people when I first started doing illustration. Roberto Parada I met there.
Oh, he's awesome.
Met a lot of people. It was a great introduction to, this is the career path I'm going to take.
Yeah. It's funny. James Jean. That's one of those guys who.
Icon.
Icon. Okay, I know what that is. Yeah, I love that dude's work, but I wasn't familiar with him. I was in the Society of Illustrators show in New York, had one of my paintings, and next to my painting was James Jean had what was the band called? My Chemical Romance, I think he did like their artwork, and that was what was on display. And I was looking at him like, oh, this is a really cool piece. They said James Jean, and I'm like, is that his real name, or is trying to be cool? You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't quite sure. Like, and then I remember, like, I never forgot the name because it just stood out to me. So I remember going home and Googling his name, like, holy crap, this guy's amazing.
He's so versatile.
Dude, I went and bought the Fables book. I don't know if you've seen that book.
Oh yeah, I have all those books.
Unreal, man. Like, just watching his progression, from like his first cover to the end, just like, that's one of my favorite art books ever, is that Fables book. It's so good. That guy is incredible. Oh yeah. It's insane, man.
Yeah.
So wow,
in the world.
I'm so blown away because I had no idea that you did like that for illustration for that long. Like earlier. I
still do it.
You still I'm
gonna sneeze again.
Oh.
No.
It's good thing we're social distanced here.
I did it for probably about 2 years out of college, and then I got an agent, and through Magnet Reps, Crystal Falcioni. Through that agency, that was my full-time job.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a great. I mean, I still do it. I do it by myself now without any agency, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the challenge of not knowing what was going to come in the door next, and the variety of things. I did a bunch of different scholastic books in the classroom stuff. I illustrated 52 portraits for a TED conference in 2003.
Wait, hold on. 52?
Yep. Did them in a month.
Oh, my God.
It was
all oil?
Those were acrylic. When I started doing illustration, I was doing acrylic.
Okay. Still, that's a lot, dude.
As a lot of people started out, I did a lot of illustrations for Village Voice, and a lot of editorial stuff. I did TV Guide, and just all of it. Rolling Stone.
I remember seeing you do like something for like basketball shoes or something.
I did something for Nike. Yeah, I did. I did paintings of Kevin Durant on shoeboxes as gifts for fans of Kevin Durant.
Okay, I remember seeing something. So this is what I assumed. I assumed that when I was going to art school, I went for only a couple years and then stopped. And when I was first going, I was going as an illustration major, but never took any of my classes. I was just doing like the fundamentals, and then I did like life drawing and then painting from life. But I didn't do anything for the illustration course yet. And I was like, you know what? I saw what people were doing, and I just thought to myself, all I really want to do is draw and paint. And so I was about to switch to the fine art degree just because I just wanted to draw and paint every day. I didn't really care about the illustration stuff because I figured if I can draw and paint, which I can do anything, you know? So when it came to you and seeing your work, because every once in a while I would see some kind of illustration thing that you had done, and I just assumed, oh, well, he can friggin' paint anything. Of course, any art director's has a vision and be like, dude, let's get this guy to do that. It was like a no-brainer, you know. That's the way I looked at it. So I didn't know that you actually were did that kind of stuff. So that's interesting. That's really cool.
In college, I fell in love with painting, and that's what I wanted to do as a career. But I knew that out of the gates, it was impossible to make a living just doing that. So I chose to do commercial illustration to supplement income and to be able to be a painter. And what illustration did for me was it helped me deal with deadlines and just increase my skill set through productivity. I think the challenge then, and I've gotten out of that hole, is, you don't get paid for 30, 60, 90 days after you do a job. And that money was spent 3 times over. It was really it was a hard time.
Yeah, that's the thing that I deal with it's a very frustrating thing. Some clients, I just did a cover last week for the Washington Examiner, and it's funny because I don't really care about politically.
Sure.
If it's something that I completely disagree with, which has only happened a few times, I won't do it. But mostly I'm kind of like a neutral. I can't stand politicians at all anyways. And so I enjoy, especially when I get to caricature illustrate, it's so much fun. Mm-hmm. This particular magazine is more conservative, but they also can't stand Trump. So it was a lot of fun. I got to just have fun with them, and as much as I could get away with anyways. But the thing I love about this magazine is they don't pay, they pay well enough. I used to do a lot of work for the Weekly Standard before that, and they went under, but a lot of the same people are working for Washington Examiner now. The art director moved over and everything else. And so I know a lot of the people, very nice people, and very nice people. Okay. But they're really nice. They're fantastic. And but unfortunately, when everything changed, their budget changed, and they didn't have the same amount that they were offering before. And they were a very big part of my income at that, because I was doing so much work. But I didn't want to lose them as clients, and also it's fun to do caricature covers because most people are afraid of it. A lot of magazines are afraid of that whole thing, and which is really lame. Hopefully, this is the perfect time to be doing it.
Absolutely, yeah. There's too much to talk about. Nobody's saying anything.
Exactly. But anyways, the main reason I even brought it up was just that the thing I like about them is they usually pay a week later, which is awesome.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's really awesome. There's a couple clients like that, but dude, it drives me crazy.
We shouldn't have to work to chase a check that's owed to us.
No, and it happens there's so many times where I'm in my career I've been freaking out. I don't know how I'm going to pay for it. I've literally done covers for 5 huge magazines in 1 month. I've literally there's been times where I've painted a cover for Time. I did a piece for the New Yorker. I did a piece for Rolling Stone. I did all in just a matter of a couple weeks, and I don't even know how I'm going to pay my rent.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
that's not right. Like,
No, I did
So-
the cover for Source magazine, I think in 2001, 2, 3, and it was a good paying job, but they never paid me, and I had
wow.
to sue them to get
Oh
paid,
my
and I
gosh.
finally did get paid, but it took I think 2 years to actually get any fucking money from those people.
Yeah, it's hard, dude. I did one. This is really funny. Business. Was it just called Business Magazine or a huge magazine with business in the title?
Okay.
I can't remember what it's called now, but it might have just been called Business Magazine. It's a huge magazine that I saw everywhere, and the same thing happened to me, and you're like, you didn't pay me, like you're not gonna,
Yeah.
like what kind of business is this? You know what I'm
Totally.
saying? It's like just
That's
ridiculous.
funny. That's funny.
But look, early on in my career, when I started working for Cracked Magazine,
Okay.
and they for 2.5 years I didn't get paid. I did like 2 covers, I did a bunch of inside illustrations, and I was after them for years to get paid for that. Dude, it's happened before. I still haven't been paid. I did I don't know if you've heard of the People versus George Lucas documentary.
No.
But that was a big deal for me, just because I was excited because it was a documentary that looked great. They sent me a copy. I'm like, oh, this is good. They asked me to be a part of it because they liked one of my paintings of George Lucas. The painting is in the movie. So they said we don't have a budget right now because we're trying to get this picked up. But if the movie does well, once it, and then basically they're like, hey, it's being picked up in all these movie theaters across the country. This is great. And I'm like, oh, this is really good news. Still didn't get paid.
Yeah.
And then the craziest part, I went to the premiere in Chicago that they had. So I did the movie poster. It was cool to see it at the movie theater and everything. And I'm still like, okay, I'm still having hope, that I'm going to get paid. And then after a certain amount of time, I'm like, hey guys, like, because it was like $4,000 that they owed me for it, which is pretty low for what I did.
Yeah,
but
for what they're using it for.
Yeah, but I was like, but I already had done it. And it's like been a couple years now. It's like, pay me, and they wouldn't pay me. And then, they said that they gotta, we have a lot to pay. We have to pay off before we pay you. Like we had to pay the food caterers and all these different things.
Wow.
And I'm like, yeah, but I'm the one that made the poster that draws people to come see your movie.
Yeah.
And then here's the real kicker, is that they used it for their DVD Blu-ray release. So I was at a Best Buy, just walking around Best Buy, and there's a whole wall of my. I'm like, holy crap! I was excited because it was so cool.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, I'm on a real movie poster or.
Yeah, it's
or
like a
DVD.
punch in the gut, though.
Yeah,
It's like,
and I'm like,
you're constantly getting screwed in the ass.
And what ended up happening was, and this is before I had my agent in New York, and he, when I first signed with him, he's like, what were you thinking? I'm like, well, I'm not a business person. Like,
yeah.
But basically what ended up happening was I got like this high profile type interview from Wired magazine, and they wanted to do an artist profile thing. And they're interviewing me, and this whole thing came up. They were so mad about it. They're like, are you kidding me? Because they knew about the movie and everything.
Gotcha.
And so they published this whole thing calling out these people for not taking advantage of an artist and everything. And all of a sudden, the guy called me. He's like, "Why are you doing this to us? Why, all this,
Fuck you."
Yeah. And so they sent me a check. They sent me a check right away for $700.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, "That's not what you guys owe me." Like,
yeah.
And you guys, and then they even had the gall. They were doing another documentary. They had the gall to write me and see if I'd be up for doing another poster for them. I'm like, are you guys insane?
Idiots.
Like,
yeah. It's good to put them on blast, though. They deserve it.
It's been 10 years now. Been 10 years.
It's also good for people to hear this, because anybody who is considering a career in illustration, to understand that it's not easy.
Oh no,
It's not glamorous. I mean, it's exciting to see your work in print, and there's no feeling like that in the world. But it's not an easy path.
Oh yeah, I mean, even like you said, like Time Magazine, great client. There's nothing like doing a cover for Time. It's super exciting every time I get that opportunity.
It doesn't get any bigger than that.
Yeah, it's like exciting for me. But I remember when I painted the Pope cover, it was such a big deal because it was like a Person of the Year cover and everything. And I was having Chicago media, every single news station you could think of, came to my house, did an interview. I even went downtown. And when you go in the cabs, I was in the cabs, like on the screen. It was I was getting recognized at grocery stores and stuff.
That's amazing.
It was like, I had like my handlebar mustache at the time, and people were pointing me out places, and I was like, this is. So it was like the first time where I was like, wow, this is kind of huge. This is weird.
Yeah.
And I was struggling at the time to pay my rent because I was waiting for so many checks to come. And here I had painted one of the biggest covers ever. Literally billions of people around the world were like, they love the Pope especially, were buying this magazine. And I remember thinking, if I only got like 1% of what Time made off of that, I would be set for so long.
Yep.
And it's not against Time. It's just the process of like, I think it took 3 months or something to pay me or some crazy thing. And I'm like, this is nuts. Like here I am having done like one of the biggest covers ever of my career. And I don't know how I'm going to pay for rent.
Yep.
So, but that's the reality of it. That is,
it is. Yeah, it is.
And I didn't know.
Still doing.
Yeah, and I didn't know, of course, when I first started that this is how it was, and I was getting so frustrated and stressed out. I remember talking to Roberto Prada on the phone, and he's like, yeah, man, that's why you gotta just keep working, and you just keep, and then checks are coming, and you eventually just forget where checks are coming from, and then you'll get, eventually you're gonna be getting checks every week or so, but they're from jobs you did months ago, and it's like that's stressful, but that is. Right, you have to hustle.
My biggest downfall in all of that as a career is not saving money for taxes.
Yeah, that's happened to me before as well.
It took me 10 years to pay off 15 years of taxes, back taxes. It was bad, but I found tattooing helped me get out of it. Just that immediate. You work, you get paid, like any job should be.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, dude, I'm in the same boat. I'm still paying back taxes. Because like I did the same thing where I wasn't saving what I should have been, and then I'm like, oh crap, what? Are you serious? But yeah, that's a thing that I think I get asked all the time from people like, what do you think about art school? And I have
There's a lot
against,
of good in art school.
Yeah, I have nothing against art school, but I always kind of feel like if I could do it again, what I would have probably done is just taken some life drawing classes somewhere, some painting from life classes. You can in Chicago, it's really easy to do that. And then maybe I would have gone to business school, like learn about marketing and that sort of a thing, because it just feels like that was the main thing that I didn't know anything about. I didn't feel prepared, or I didn't understand any of that kind of stuff.
Totally.
So
totally.
Yeah. Anyways, well, now we've been talking for an hour and 40 minutes.
Yay!
Yeah, before we do wrap this up, again, I want to just say thanks again so much, man. It's so.
Thanks for
I've been wanting to talk to you for a while.
Brad, that's great to talk to you.
Yeah, same here, man. Do you have anything that you would like to promote or push for people can direct them certain ways?
I don't know exactly when it's happening. Tentatively, it's June 13th, 2020, Maxwell Alexander Gallery, a 3-person show with Karl Dobsky and Cora Kaufman. You can check all of our Instagram pages to see exactly when that's happening. I'm guessing it might get bumped, but I don't know. People can check out the last few months I've been posting from when I first started tattooed portraits I'm kind of making my way up to the present. I have an Instagram page for that. That's just tattooed portraits. Our
cool.
shop is Memoir Tattoo. If you're in Los Angeles, come and get tattooed by myself or anybody at the shop. My girlfriend, Kim Said, check out her stuff. She's fucking pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I post enough on my personal page where people can see it there.
Yeah. Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, that's so cool, man. And thanks again. Everybody, I'm sure everyone already knows who you are anyways, but definitely if you're not following, you should be following.
Thank you.
And thanks again, man. This has been so cool to talk to you.
My pleasure.